we're going to start with the recap, guys, all right? I'm going to go over, I got a bunch of photos, a couple things to show y'all. I was going to make this into a vertical format. I don't even know what to call it. A vlog? A vertical format vlog? But I haven't had time, dude. This whole trip was so crazy. It was so busy. So for those of you guys who missed it, I was out at Call of Duty Next the last couple of days. I literally just got home and started up my live stream back. But this was why I was not streaming this week outside of on Wednesday when we came into the stream. And that actually, it went fairly well. I was multi-streaming live from COD Next. So this is some of the trip that went out for it. I figured rather than, I did a lot of stories for it. So if you guys saw the stories on Facebook, Instagram, I put a couple of them up on Twitch, but I didn't have a lot of reception. There was a lot to get it all up. Not as many people have been watching there anyway, so we'll see how it goes. Welcome back, though. Thank you, guys. So, it started out...
I haven't been up this early on purpose
I don't remember.
for quite a while,
I don't even
but
remember
it's
some
for
of
a
these.
good reason because I'm heading out to Call of Duty Next. We're going to go reveal the new Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Hopefully it's got some good information. It's fun. I'm going to see a bunch of my buddies there. And that also means, though, no streams this week outside of, Wednesday from the venue. So, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, so I was pretty excited. I got out to the airport. For those of you guys who don't know, I'm up in the Pacific Northwest. There's Mount Hood looking absolutely beautiful, but from the plane, it actually looked even more insane, I will say. They also, anybody out and been through the new Portland airport? They just redid this. It opened like last week. This was my first time seeing it. And it is huge.
This place is so different.
They got trees in there now.
In a forest.
Inside the airport. It's so much more open. Everything actually went pretty slow for the first run-through of it. I got TSA pre-check. Verified. And I didn't get... the line was longer for that, which was kind of funny. They still got the carpet there, though, which was kind of cool. So anyways, ended up getting onto the plane pretty quick. This was some crazy shots, though, dude. It's so beautiful. Nice weather. It's great. The airport carpet is like, I don't know. It's like a whole meme there. It's famous. There's also 3 airports in D.C. I didn't know which one I even flew into here. Maybe one of you guys recognize it here. But it was pretty big. I mean, pretty insane. Then they had a car waiting for me. Whenever we do any of the trips with COD, they usually pick us up in a nice car. They got like a sign out there with our name. And we ended up staying at the Watergate Hotel, which was pretty insane. The Dulles Airport was the one we went in on. Okay, the Dulles. There you go. So we got there. This was a really nice hotel. Shout out to COD hooking it up. This was my event seat. They gave me like a little card, so I had to remember it. And then I just kind of took a tour around. They had like a private little area for us set up with this giant screen. Hyping the game. This was like a back vault room where they gave us like a little gift bag. It was actually, I don't know if I showed the full footage here, but it was just a bunch of like cells back there. Got a couple shots when I got there. They had like a ping pong table, a couple things. Most people were just kind of hanging out in the lobby when we were there. I got some, this was like a crab dip, which I've never had before, and I figured I'd get that. I was so hungry, man. And anyways, got that going. It was actually very good. Cheesy. Can't hate on it. This is the elevator. It was very mirrored up all over. They actually had a pretty nice elevator system there. And then this was the room that I stayed in, which was also very nice. It was a very luxurious hotel. I haven't had this many like really nice hotels when we've gone on trips. On all of it. I kind of wanted to go down to the pool down there, and then this was cool. This is the river out there. And then this was a balcony right here. Z-Laner was staying in the room next to me. This guy's loud, man. This guy's so loud. But he told me afterwards he could see into my room. So that was a little weird. But yeah, I didn't really even think about it. I didn't realize that was there at the time when I even recorded this. He's like, "Yeah, I saw you in your room yesterday." It's like, sick. That's a good way to set up a hotel, so you could go out on the balcony and take a sneak peek in. What kind of setup is this? Yeah, so that was great to know. Crab rave for the crab dip. Oh, this was a shot of the river here. It was so beautiful. I couldn't believe it. I didn't realize how big DC was. I had been there ages ago for a quick trip. I did like a trip. I saw some of New York and DC, but I only saw a couple spots there, and so I really didn't know much about it. But when I got there too, and I checked in and I got that card, they also gave me a there were so many bag. Here. It is crazy. I already saw a bunch of the UK guys, Australian guys, everything, but I just got a bag from Call of Duty. As you can see, they got my name on it. It's Call of Duty Next. Little duffel bag, which is pretty sick. And I actually saw some people wearing what I'm assuming it was, which looks like a jacket. And a flannel shirt. Man, I haven't worn flannel for quite a while. I don't know if my wife will approve. I don't think she will. Yeah, I slept in that shirt. The thing is,
and they even gave me some candy. What is this? A watch?
Yeah, they gave me a watch. This was the whole lot of what they gave me. They usually give me stuff, so I leave extra room in my bag. But then I got another thing later on. They gave me another bag at the event that we went to, so it turned into just a lot of stuff. DC's great. Lived there for about a decade. World War II Memorial is my favorite. Glad to see it. Yeah, and actually, I'll show you guys in a sec. We go out for a trip. Love the flannel. I actually got a couple things from the event that I don't know if I'm going to keep it all. You know what? One of the coolest thing was this, but we'll get to that in a second. Hey Stone, how you doing, man? Loving the streams. Welcome back. The balcony was how Nixon got caught. So somebody in the event was actually staying in that room. I don't know who it was, but they were talking. Some people were talking about it. I didn't get all the details for it, but it's pretty insane. Like when I heard that we were going to the Watergate Hotel, obviously I remembered Watergate and that stuck. I didn't really realize that was where we were going. But this place is it was like a 5-minute Uber. I could have even just walked, but it was a bit of a walk, man. This place is huge. So I ended up or you could take a scooter. But I just decided to take an Uber down because it was getting late. This was the day that I came in, right? And so the sun was setting, so it was beautiful out there, man. And I mean, how epic. Like, this does not give you the context. Yeah, it's very sprawling. This does not give you the context for how big this place is. So I spent the whole day, the rest of the day walking around, but then I saw the scooter. So check this out. Yes. Well, first of all, this thing is absolutely massive. This does not give it justice of how big this is. It is so crazy. But I got a scooter, and they have all these scooters all over the place. I'm sure if you guys... Is this pretty common in big cities around the U.S.? I don't know if it's around the world, too, how popular it is. But there was a bunch of different ones. I got one that was like lime or something, or bird or something was what they told me to get. And... You just go up to the scooter and you scan it. Yeah, it's all over in New York City as well. You just scan it, and then you can ride on the scooter. And I guess people must just go around and charge them. They're pretty common. Yeah, scooters are definitely everywhere. It must just be in I don't know, downtown areas. I haven't been downtown in a city in ages. It's super cool. In the UK as well, you have them? Yeah. So Chicago as well. Okay, so this is huge. Okay, so you guys all know about this. Anyways, I had never done this before, and it was the best. I don't know, maybe I feel like in New York or something might be a little more sketchy because you're on a lot of the streets too, right? This was not really on the street. It was more of kind of sidewalks around parks area. There was just so much grass. Every time riding one of these things. You see this big field. I have a couple other shots, and I'm just touring around a bit. Beautiful sunset. Go see some sights. I posted a couple of these things to the behind the scenes channel on Discord too. So if you guys are subbed and you're not in the Discord yet, you can link on to the Discord, get into the Mountaineer channels here. I do recommend right over here, by the way. Or if you get gifted or primed or whatever. I threw a couple extra things up while I was on the trip. I didn't post it out to everywhere yet. This is kind of the recap of it, more or less. So I scooted my ass right up to the bottom of this, which if I had to walk this, I probably would have walked like 5 miles or so. I went out for about an hour on this scooter, and I was just zipping everywhere. It was so great. But look at this. What was so trippy when I was under it too is like the clouds were moving. Like I got dizzy looking up at it. And I don't usually get like that. So I took a nice shot there. Look at that. It's massive, dude. Massive. So then I ended up continuing on, and I saw I didn't realize how close everything was. I'm pretty sure when I came here last time, I just went here, and we went up to I think that's the Jefferson Memorial, right? I didn't go up into it this time. Because I couldn't bring my scooter up and I didn't want somebody to just jack my scooter or, you know, like I sign out of it, whatever. Somebody else grabs it. The Lincoln Memorial. Yeah, okay. That's what it is. Yeah, so there's the Lincoln Memorial up there. But I didn't, like, these were all just, it's just all straight shots, like a giant park. And there were so many people out running. It was amazing. I was like, if I lived there, I 100% would be doing it. However, there was mosquitoes everywhere, bro. I don't know if it was just the time of day. It was very humid.
Yeah, come at the perfect time. This is just amazing, man. Wow.
Like I'm standing right in the middle of it, but it's so far. Like the walk all the way down there. But you know, it gave me the context of seeing like all these speeches that have happened here, and when people are just packed in, it's so big. This being completely packed is just it's a lot of people that would have been there. There's some ducks floating around as well. So I went up to the bottom of this. I just scooted across it all. It was really nice. But see, like, you can just scoot on all these paths. So this was perfect. This is what I told everybody to do because a lot of people were asking the next couple days. You know, they wanted to go see some of the sites. And then I went to the White House. That was literally right down the road as well. Another 3 minutes scooting over here, and you could go straight to the White House. So I think this is the front of the White House. I wasn't sure. I didn't go all the way around it. I just went to one side here, but it's so fenced off. There's like layers of everything. This is me zoomed in looking at it here. But yeah, there's like a fence here, then another fence, then like a road, and then another fence. And there were some people around it too that I didn't want to go up and try and, you know, make a break for it or anything. I wasn't doing anything crazy. Just getting a photo. Casual photo in front of the White House here. A lot of nice fountains around, though. It's very beautiful. Did you go to the Vietnam Memorial, the wall, while you were there? There was a couple things that were, there were so many different things all around there. I probably flew by a couple of them. There was a lot of statues and monuments. This was the main run that I did, though. So I kind of went around around here, up, like around the back, up, then through. Here's some fountains, up here, and then I wrapped back over. The White House is like over here relative. So I cut through the park here. There was a bunch of different, I don't know, there's a bunch of different things. And I zoomed over here, did this, and then I was getting eaten up by the mosquitoes. And I couldn't deal with it. Could have easily spent a week there for sure, especially with the museums, which we did go to one of them. I'll show you in a second. But I was just limited on time, and I could have spent the entire last day, but I'll show you guys what I did the last day. So then I went back to the hotel. This was the next day. I went back to the hotel, called it a night. Actually, I hung out with a couple of guys that night for a bit. I was just mostly hanging out in the lobby, and then I went up, called the wife, kiddo, hung out for a bit. And then next day, I woke up in the morning. Well, what a lot of people were doing was they did this, like, shoot on the first day when they got in. Some people were even there the day before, especially if they were international travelers. Yeah, we went to the Spy Museum too, but we didn't really go into it. I'll show you that. But I woke up the next morning and nobody was here. So I was going to go down and schedule an appointment to do this photo shoot. And they were like, just do it right now. Everybody was asleep. I got up pretty early. I'm on the West Coast too. And I got up at probably like, this was 9 o'clock. So I probably got up at like 8 o'clock, which would have been 5 my time. But I probably went to sleep at like midnight. I did not sleep much on this trip at all. The whole way through, man. But it was fine. I was also just so full of adrenaline the night before, especially. I just couldn't sleep. I was ready to go. So I told the guy, I said, put me in the most tactical, all the tactical stuff you can. So he put on nice gloves. I got some knee pads on. I had a vest with another rig with the pockets. You can't really see it all because of the how dark it is. Everything's in black. I was, a little stealth. I didn't want to put a jacket on too. I just figured my black shirt and black pants would be sick. And then what they're going to do, though, these guys took all of these photos and they're sending me a 3D model, everybody who did the photo, of ourselves. So but this was kind of like the pose that I think I did for it. I don't even remember, but I had the sledge on my shoulder, giant sledgehammer. This thing was actually, it was pretty heavy. It was pretty cool. But I'm going to get that photo. I'll probably post that once we get it as well. What trip is this? This was Call of Duty Next. So this is what I got back from. So when I first got there, too, they had a separate streaming room. I posted this one. Some people thought this was the venue of where we were doing the actual show from, but it was not. They set this up so while you were there, I could have done a live stream, but it would have been for not Black Ops 6. It would have been all the old content of the game, and I wasn't super interested in it. Some people were doing live streams there. I just figured I'd kind of make the most of the trip, do some exploring around at least a little bit with the time that I had. So I hung out with some of the UK boys, Torai, Westy, and Tomographic for breakfast, ate after that. And then we went out to the Air and Space Museum. This is the outside of it. And these two old guys here, they had no idea how to do this, how to get into this, because you had to like scan a QR code and then log in and put a bunch of your information in, and that was how you got your tickets. So I ended up helping them out a bit, getting them logged in on it. They really appreciated it. He thought we were Star Wars nerds, and he said he wasn't going to make fun of Star Wars nerds anymore. So that was kind of great. So, and they actually had a Star Wars ship in the museum too, which was interesting, an X-wing. But the whole outside of the building, like, it doesn't even look like anything. I know the whole building of this is really weird. And I guess, so this is the Smithsonian Museum. I guess there was a couple Smithsonian museums there. And this was the Air and Space one. There was also like the natural animals one, too. We almost went to that, but space is cooler. So we went to space. We only had a couple hours because the event started at 1. You can see it was 10:30, and we realized that we had to have tickets before. Fortunately, tickets were free, which was kind of cool. But we had to come back at 11, so we went got some drinks and then came back. And then we went through. They had like the Wright brothers. This guy told us the story of this piece of wood was from the original Wright brothers plane that I guess was brought to space. I think it was Armstrong brought it to space, and then he in his pocket, and he brought it back, and there it is, that piece of wood. It was like, he was really excited though. That guy was like running a stream 24/7 in the corner of that museum, and he was just ripping it, telling everybody about it. He was super hyped. But it's like he was like running a live stream, but the whole viewership rotated every 30 seconds or a minute, and he kept telling the story. And so it was good. I gave him props, man. It was good. He had a good spiel for it. So anyways, then we went over into the main room. Look at this. These planes were massive. This building was massive. So went up to the second floor, got a tour around. This is the front of a 747. We went in that in a second. I'll show you as well. There's an X-Wing. I didn't realize they were real. I thought it was just from movies the whole time. This was cool, though. I actually liked the space area for this. Some of the landing information. I would have loved to have more time to, like, read everything or really get, like, a tour. I need a tour. I'm not going to read everything. I needed to watch a YouTube video on 2x speed or have, like a little headphone thing that toured me. I needed somebody who knew this stuff. But anyways, it was really fun. And this the guys were saying this was the real one that came back from space, from the Apollo missions. But I didn't know. I didn't know if it was a replica one or if it was the real one. I don't know how some of these museums work. I don't know. Because didn't they just do this in the movies? Wasn't it just a movie? They didn't really go to space or something. The Earth is flat. So anyways, I don't know the whole story, but it was a really cool museum. I like that. We got back to the event, though, because at 1 o'clock, we were going to be going into the room. Saw some of the other foreign boys, Marley 13, Drew Dog, Overtime, some of the Australian boys. And these guys absolutely popped off in the actual gameplay, too. And this is our first briefing for the event, right? So they just funneled us all into this room, which in the past, they did these briefings at the actual venue. This is my third COD Next. So at this one, they just had the briefing at the hotel rather than at the venue, which you'll see why in a bit. I can't show you any of the information from this pre-briefing, but I'll show you just a bit of the stuff. This is Infinite Embargo in here. Which wasn't anything like super crazy or whatever, but I was in here with all the boys. Lupo even came up and made fun of me because I was wearing my own shirt. But listen, I like my swag. What can I say? Every time I see Lupo, he always makes fun of me because I have my own swag on. You know, I got my own merch on, but it's good merch. It's fire. It's good. What can I say? So anyways, they gave us a briefing, overviewed everything that was going to be at the event the next day, gave us like a what we needed to know for going into multiplayer zombies as well as Warzone, and then of course the details for the actual event itself. There's Breadman there. He was actually sitting pretty close to me in the event. So then afterwards, we all went out to the shuttles because we were going over to the hotel, and this was crazy. Usually they're pretty incognito with everything.
There's something sick waiting for us. We're here in D.C. Let's see.
They had all of the buses, the like motorcade for this was completely Black Ops 6, everything. I don't know if anybody from the stream is watching this, or maybe if you're watching this video, you tell me, did anybody see any of the Black Ops 6 buses if you're in Washington, D.C. over the last week? Because these were driving all over the place, and it was just like, look at how big this was. And then on top of that, you could see these dudes with the helmets. We had like 20 motorcycles riding along us with an actual motorcade going down. I saw them. Okay, there you go. Paul was there. Or I was curious if anybody like was posting clips of it on social media. So we all packed into the bus, and then you could see like they had even Black Ops 6 flags on the back of their bikes. So they were all like escorting us through the streets. So there's like 6 of these giant buses. I think maybe there was less, but it felt like there were 6 of them. There were so many. Maybe it was 4, but there was hundreds of creators there. So we were driving. It was kind of hard to see through some of the siding that was set up there. Probably was like a 20, 30-minute ride, and then we got there, and they told us that there was going to be something cool when we got there, too. We have made it. Holy! And look at this. They lined up all the motorbike dudes. Look at that. Rolled out the orange carpet. Like, this was sick. And so this is actually another museum that we're going into, this red building. I actually met one of the guys that like worked there, or he was like an architect or something. Shout out. But yeah, he was a fan of the content, so he took a shot with me. But he said that it was a museum. I never actually looked it up. And apparently they were going to be open the next day after this, which I was like, yeah, right. I don't know if you're going to be able to set all that, take all this stuff down that fast. But they had a huge abomination out front. This thing was massive. There was like 5 zombies operating the thing, moving around. They must have been absolutely sweating out there because it was humid and it was hot. Fortunately, they were at least in the shade, but man, they're dedicated. So then we went into the venue. What's your take on Black Ops 6 Zombies? We'll get into some of that in a sec. I'm just overviewing some of the actual trip, how it went, recapping it. Then we went into the venue here. This was my first time seeing it. They had a cool orange carpet with it. Nice tunnel with some pillars and like these busts that were blindfolded. The truth is a lie. You know, it's all all part of the experience with it. Yeah, I saw Miyade TV. I actually saw him on the way out. He was streaming live from the event too. Some people were actually like IRL streaming it, which I've never really done. I actually thought about doing it, but I wasn't sure how to do it. Like, what would be the, like, should I just do it to Twitch? Should I do it to everywhere if I did do it? I wasn't sure what the best way to do it would be. You know, especially because I don't think I could have necessarily multi-streamed it. We'll see. Yeah, rep the brand for it. That's what I think. But they had a cool, like, Polaris truck there. And this building was massive. But you see those windows up there? Right up here? They blacked out everything, but they didn't do these top windows, which is foreshadowing for some sunlight in my eyeballs. Oh, did I lose control here? There we go. This was cool, too. They had, like, they had a lot of, like, theme stuff. I actually didn't really spend any time over here because I had to spend my entire time trying to deal with all the tech problems here, so you're going to hear me complain a little bit. But it is what it is, man. Cool board setup. This was the a shot of like what all of the computers look like. It was two big rings. I don't know if they showed it. I actually didn't watch the main. Did any of you guys watch the main feed? Did they give you some good shots of the room? And then also, was I on the main feed at all? They interviewed me right at the beginning of like the day when I sat down on the actual day, which is tomorrow from what we're watching here. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Growing in the streams, man. Yeah, the streams have been doing awesome. Good morning. It's one of the cooler buildings that are downtown there.
This just keeps going.
It's awesome.
There are so many setups here.
Believe it or not, that building really never has anything going on inside it, though. Well, it looked cool. I don't know if it was just like, look at these giant pillars inside of it. It was a cool venue for it, but you could see everything was quite small. Like, there's not really any extra room in this building, and apparently they didn't even have internet before this. I don't know, but the internet was trash. So I spent the whole day here just setting everything up. I tried to set up multi-streams. I was testing it. I realized that we have zero bandwidth. Like, usually you need 28 up for YouTube, for example. I stream at 28 up in 1440p, and I was trying to see if I can set up in 1440, but I could only get 6 up, is what they said. They don't go higher than 6. That is impossible to stream. That is not even really good enough for 1080p. For like at least what I usually try to stream. I usually stream at 8 up, but which is already like 20% higher. So I was quite a bit limited. The computers were okay too, but I couldn't get my. Literally, these are Corsair computers, and I'm using a Corsair controller, and it doesn't even work. It was like, it's so disappointing, dude. I couldn't believe how bad all of the tech was across the board for all of it. Because, like, I think they were more focused on this cool setup and the look and the experience with it all, which I will say was sick. They crushed it on that. Like, my trip here, as you're, already seeing, was a ton of fun. My experience was epic. The setting, like, I loved going to D.C. for it. It was cool. But I think they prioritized that over the experience for the streamers and for what we did because, bro, there was guys like Shady. He had 3 power outages. So while he was live, all of his power on his whole computer set up, everything, his whole section went out of power, crashed the stream, had to start another stream. That happened 3 times. So now he can't even go. He doesn't get notifications anymore when he goes live because he spammed too many, like, hey, starting stream. So then YouTube cuts you off, so you don't get notifications anymore. On top of, like, I had to lower my bitrate. 6 was still too high. I was streaming in 3 to 4 up. It's terrible. That's why everybody was complaining about the quality the entire time. So I was worried at this point because I had tested it and I had seen how terrible it was. And they only gave us 2 hours to try and set it up. No peripherals are working. They also said I had to use all of their products there, so I couldn't bring my own mouse or keyboard. So I was not used to that when I did try the mouse and key as well. And, like, everything was like, dude, it was so bad. It was the worst experience that I've had at any of these yet. And it was like, what it felt like to me was like, hey, let's get this super hyped. Let's get you here. Have your stream do really bad so that everybody will go watch the main broadcast instead of your stream. And it sucked, dude. It really sucked. And I talk about this all the time in all the games, everything I play. I hate the technical issues. That drives me crazier than pretty much anything. That's what I will rage at. So, anyways, that'll get me. I got God on that front. But nonetheless, cool experience. I got to see that. I got set up. I think these were a bunch of takes that I tried trying to hype the stream for the day after. I was pretty much, a lot of the people had already left at this point. I was kind of straggling. I tried to spend as much time as I could setting everything up. Took a sick shot with this thing, though, on the way out. I kind of wanted to go sit on one of these motorbikes, but I thought somebody might come over and punch me, so I didn't do it. And then I saw Z on the way out, too. Got a shot with him. Then we went to the Spy Museum, and this was the craziest part of probably the whole entire trip. This one was wild. So we went to this museum. It was the Spy Museum. Apparently, I met with Sally there, too. There's Swag, Tim, Marley. But Sally's dog's a local to the area. There's Legion as well. And he was telling me that they just moved the Spy Museum to here. And so we went up the elevators to the roof, and I didn't know what we were even going to do, but we went to the rooftop here. It was beautiful, man. It seemed like there was a limit on how high the buildings were, and this was one of the highest buildings in the entire area. Drew's stream seemed pretty good, and it actually was. He upped his quality to 30. They gave him 30 upload rate. And that was what pissed me off the most, too, is that some people got their quality improved, and you guys saw that on my live stream as well. I'll talk about that when we get to it. Don't let me forget. So, anyways, I got to the roof. The sign there said there was DJ and something else. I didn't understand what the sign said, but I just went up to the roof, took a shot around, did a little tour.
They brought us up to a roof, guys. I don't know if I should stay up here.
Yeah, it was pretty high up. You could see the Capitol building there. I think that was. I didn't get the chance to go over there, but we're over here, right? And then they tell us. Well, I was inside talking to a couple guys, and they're like, "Everybody, will you please go out onto the outside for the wedding?" There's a wedding? What the? What? Right, because I was just taking some shots. I saw the flowers. I was like, oh, this is a pretty shot here. I wonder why there's flowers there. Sure enough, we all go out there. And so I was talking to some of the guys who are like, they didn't hear the announcement because they were already outside. And so they thought that we were all piling up. And they thought this was like a joke. Like they didn't even realize what was going on because nobody told us there was going to be a wedding. We only heard the announcement on the inside that there was going to be a wedding. So the people on the outside were like, what? They didn't even ever hear that there was a wedding, right? Destroy got a little waving thing. He was really excited about that. But this is the groom. Call of Duty DJ, which if you've ever seen, he does like soundboards in the lobbies. Nobody even knew who it was at this point because I don't think he's even ever revealed his face. So we're all like, who is this? Is he a creator? What's even going on? I don't know what's even happening here. Now, I had actually met him in the elevator the day before, but I didn't really recognize him. And so they met on Call of Duty, and Call of Duty actually did this wedding for him and then paid for their I rode back in the Uber with them on the ride back to the airport. We were in the same one. And Call of Duty's also gave them a check for their own wedding, like with their friends and family and everything too, which was cool. But they met on Call of Duty, which the thing was like 3 or 4 years ago or whatever. So it was, it was pretty cool. They had a bunch of, goofy lines that were interesting, but I guess it was a lot of stuff from even his videos, like back in the day. I don't know. But they ended up getting married. Everybody was like, okay, there it is. So there we are. Everybody was recording. It was exciting. It was fun. And then we ended up just hanging out on the rooftop. But they didn't give us any food. So I was hungry. And basically, I saw that all the food was coming from inside this glass area here. So I stayed inside of there. And every time the lady, they had like hors d'oeuvres for us. So they would just walk around with trays of food. And I went outside for a while, and I was talking out here for a while, you know, when I was taking some of the shots, but I realized that by the time the food wasn't coming out fast there. So I went inside, but they were blasting the speakers in there, man. Like, it was so loud, and I couldn't really hear or talk much, but that's where the food was. So I ended up just staying in there, and I took all the food. Like, they had some good little tacos, but the tacos was like little tiny tacos. So I got like 15 of those things, just kept snagging them. This was Iceman Isaac, J God, and Sally's a dog. We ended up hanging out up on the roof. We stayed pretty late there, and then we ended up going down to, I guess it's called the Wharf down there, where they've got a bunch of restaurants and stuff. So we all hung out. There was a bunch of the foreign guys who were down there too. We all met up and just kind of hung out for a couple hours. I went home pretty early though. I went back because I just wanted to get some sleep. I still didn't sleep very good. And then this was the day. I got all the information yesterday on Warzone. Dude, this is a long ass vlog. This is getting a little long. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it though. You know, little recap.
To you all today live on the stream. I'll be breaking those stream segments up into videos. So you guys can
the mall in DC is great. I don't know if that's where we even were, but that was by our hotel.
Those as well on the main channel, and then I'll be dropping as many.
Sketchy there, horrible traffic. It felt pretty safe the whole time, actually.
Head downstairs. I'll show you a little bit of behind the scenes as we go.
So we went down. This was the day. We had to leave earlier on this day, 10 o'clock at the buses. We ended up going to the
ready to go.
Buses here. Back to the venue. We had everything kind of set up.
Here we go. Let's see how it works.
And there's my buddy Tom. This was after the event, but I actually have the footage here of the stream. This was it. So we ended up starting with chatting. I saw a bunch of guys were already live, so I kind of had to get live to start building up some of the viewers as quickly as I could. So I ended up starting the stream, even though everything was so choppy and bad. But I have this recording, and when I put my recording settings in, the problem was that I hit an extra 0, which will come into play in a little bit. So this file here is 4 hours, 1080p, but it is 500 gigabytes. This file is massive, but the quality is really good. It's probably the best 1080 video that's ever been, you know, in existence here, which is really good. So I ended up playing some of the multiplayer. I started on the controller, and then I switched over to the mouse, and dude, the sniping on mouse actually felt insane. I was hitting some really good shots. Like, I think the problem, though, is like a lot of the close range is going to be hard to stay on people. And I don't really want to play specifically around just sniping. I think I can get pretty good at sniping for the sake of, you know, controller as well. At least that's my hope. But like even sprinting backwards, a lot of the controls, though, to my point, is like I didn't have my mouse, I didn't have my keyboard when I did that. The controller they gave me was ass. It was the new one that they got coming out. At least I wasn't used to it. I'm used to my controller. I just wanted to use my stuff, which is also from the same company anyways. But that one, you know, I have problems with the iQ, like the software on my own computer here. Of course, there was even more of it there as I just keep getting slammed. This isn't the good clips, okay? Look out for the good clips. We'll post some better ones. I sucked for that part, but that's fine. So then we ended up playing that for way too long. I have a lot to say on all the multiplayer side of things, and we'll get to some of that in the video I'm going to be putting together, talking more specifically about the gameplay and content. Played zombies for about an hour. No, we played zombies for about 20 minutes, but you could have gone for an hour or two if you wanted to. However, I wanted to play the other stuff. And this was the coolest part, dude. I got the wonder weapon. The whatever. I don't even know what it's called still. I keep forgetting the name of it. But I guess this was a gun back in transit, the wonder weapon. I got it. I pack-a-punched it. It was really good. I was carrying Z-Laner, Destroy, and Zunday, who I also met later on that day for the first time. But a lot to say on the map, a lot to say on zombies in general. Then we ended up playing Warzone, so I switched over to this, and I really just wanted to get like a overview of the map as much as I could when I was there, and kind of see what it was like. You can see these like black spots though. Like this is better quality, right? Now you can see it in better quality, or if you're watching this, especially in full 1440p right now. Kind of like technically upscaling it from the 1080 that I had here, but you can see like the textures are really whacked out. This is clearly an alpha. The rest of the game felt like it was more done, but this did not feel very done to me. when I was playing it and everything. And I think that comes across as what you can see. Like, even look at their textures on the rooftop, whatever. And that's what they told us, too, is like there's a lot of stuff, even like the way that the map is colored, it's not fully done being colored and like set up for, because a lot of people are saying it could use some more saturation and everything, too. No way I'd buy this game. Oh, this is free, though. So I mean, if you want to play it, you don't have to buy anything. And then, yeah, I played this for as long as I possibly could. Like, I stayed on this until they literally kicked me out, because after this, they did the Code Bowl, which was only supposed to be 4 games, and they had 5 disconnect games. So they spent, dude, Stone and Westy were there. They were so frustrated at the end because they got done at like 9 or 10 o'clock. We were already up at the rooftop bar chilling later when they came up, and they spent, I don't know how many of you guys actually watched it. I watched a little bit of it, and it looked kind of cool. But it was on it wasn't on this. Like, they weren't competing on the new game. They're competing on the old one, or like the current state of the game. And I guess they just kept on disconnecting. Like, it didn't run. I couldn't believe how long they spent doing it, though. I thought it would just be a couple games and they'd be done. But they were there for like all day, bro. It was crazy. So anyways, I didn't get invited to the Code Bowl this year. I got invited to the first Code Bowl that they did, and that was really cool. But yeah, I haven't done that because a couple guys were asking why didn't I play in that one. I just wasn't invited. They have so many people, you know, they can't get everybody into it. But I did play in the first one, and it was cool. I actually played with Shroud for a couple of the games for the first one. That was when he hit the classic crazy clutch clip with that deagle. So then we went up to the rooftop, and there was helicopters flying by, which Sally was saying Langley was over here in this direction. I had no idea where I was. I didn't know how this was set up. I knew that D.C. was like its own area, its own district. It's not technically a state, which I did look up some videos on to understand what the heck was even going on there and how it worked. I guess they still can vote, but I guess they don't have representation in Congress, or it was very interesting. I saw I learned some of the history of it. I never really completely understood it, but a lot of the foreign guys were like, "Oh, so you're local to the area? That's sick." Even some of the U.S. guys, sweet dude, because I'm up in Washington, but I'm in Washington State, which, if you know the geography of the country, is a 5-hour flight away. So yeah, so this is me up on the rooftop. These are a couple shots from the venue too. Somebody sent me. Who I actually had connected with back in my professional casting days in Modern Warfare 3, which also Reflections. I actually know him from back then, too. He's the caster for the Code Bowl, as well as did that, married the 2 guys. So anyways, then this was the next day after the event. Event went really good. We're back from that. Last day there, my flight out, which was yesterday, I flew out late at night, which was a nightmare of itself, but fortunately I did make it back. That day, though, they said that there's an event with Polaris that we could do, which is the new vehicles, that Pacific Northwest, baby! That was the vehicle that they added to the game. It's like the UTV, UTX vehicle. They made a better version of it called the Polaris.
We're back out again today. This time, going to a Polaris event, driving the car in the game. Hopefully we're not driving, but it should be epic.
We didn't drive, thankfully. Custom water bottles. Actually, there was supposed to be one there. I didn't get one, though. It was too hot, and I just left. So we took a bus ride. Dude, it was an 1.5-hour bus ride. It was a long-ass ride, but we got out there. I didn't even know where we were.
Oh, good.
Turn back. See a shot of the course, though. This guy was legit. He was hyping it up as we were getting there. The vehicles are driving all over the place. So we got in there. He gave us a little speech, hyping us up, telling us the thing. It was hot, though. Yeah, it was very humid there. He hyped it, dude. He hyped it.
Enjoyed Call of Duty as you were playing it yesterday, and so we're going to give you the first.
I had to leave my other backpack there too, so I couldn't bring my sunglasses. They made me switch to their. They gave us a new backpack, which actually is a pretty sick one. It's a pretty cool one. But they broke us up into 4 different groups. I got in the alpha group, so I was the first one to get onto the vehicles, and they had like the camera setup was nuts. So these are all the drivers. So we hopped in. It was so cool, man. It was a lot of fun. Polaris is the company that makes the vehicles. Yeah. And so they did like a deal with COD, I'm sure, and that's why they got into the game, and it was part of the promotion for this. But my flight wasn't until that night, so I had nothing to do. I mean, I could have gone explored D.C. a little bit more, but this was pretty fun.
Oh no, we need one of the two.
Okay, you're ready to go?
Unless you want to ride together.
So I got the helmet on, got some goggles on for the dust, and then I went out into the wild. So there's a couple different camera angles that I got for this. I just uploaded this, so the quality might not be great.
What did you think about Black Top 6?
Hold it down like a Texas belt buckle.
So this is them. They strap me in here.
All about Call of Duty. What did you think about Black Top 6?
Let's see, another camera angle. It was like a 5-minute ride.
Hold it down like a Texas belt buckle.
All right, Ben. Now,
Let's see. Here's the face cam version of it.
They
She
had the
rode right
number
before
one
me.
driver in El Masra and didn't let him drive.
I know. It doesn't make any sense, Wesley. Thank you for the $5, my good sir. 10 on the day with it. Didn't let me drive. I know. Who would have thought? But I didn't know what to expect on this one, guys. I'm not going to lie. This was, this I was a bit nervous. For because I had seen the shots of this track, which I'll show you in a sec. I mean, you'll see some of the hills here. We were ripping on this track. He started it out, you know, not too crazy, off the turn here, but some of the we're just going blind over the top and then dipping down the hill like that. It was like, oh, okay. My stomach dropped, and I'm not usually somebody who gets like motion sickness, but by the end of this, I didn't know if he was gonna hit this jump too, but. There was a lot of like quick dips down because he didn't like full send it over him, but a couple of them, it felt like he did. We 100% got air on some of the smaller jumps. Like that was like just like a, top jump down there. But what was surprising, it was a pretty steady drop on it. Like it wasn't as like harsh, like the shocks on it were really good. The whole thing that I thought
Kids are loving the stream. Can't
big
wait.
Dude, thank you so
GG.
much, man. The big thing from this though, this thing though, I was like, Call of Duty needs to buff these vehicles. In game, these vehicles are not as good as what I experienced here. These are so much better than the vehicles in the game. Buff them in game, please. At least it feels that way. On the back here, so we're going through all the trees, right? I felt like it was just like a rally car thing, and he actually gunned it a little bit at the beginning of it. But there was a couple spots where it was just like a super steep dip. There was one in these trees here. And the quality's not perfect, so you guys can't see it all exactly. It looks like the bit rate's a bit low. Right here, he just guns it, dude. Right through all the trees. I was like, oh my gosh. The traction was really good on the vehicle for this, like, loose of dirt of a road that it was. But it was a very smooth ride. Like, obviously, I'm bumping around a lot, but for what we were actually doing, it was smooth transitions over a lot of it. It was actually pretty good shocks. Dirt bikes, ATVs, buggies. That's what I use more in New York City country area. They said that they also do dirt bikes, but they only had these out for the event. I think it was that dip there. It was like, it sent me straight down. I'll show you one other angle of it. So this is the front. Let's see if maybe it's better quality off this. Look at this one. Is this? Oh, no, it's still 1080p. We're probably about halfway through the ride here. So this is the front camera, so you can see a bit of the terrain. So they like took us through the backwoods, but then they come back around to like the main track in the front. It was crazy. Yeah, right here he rips it. And I think he got up to about 60, 70 miles an hour. I glanced over when he did it. Let me see, which was the main one? Driver's side cam, shoulder cam. Let's go back to this one. Right here. It was this spot. Yeah, dude, my helmet, like my head just went right back into the seat. I think it was this visor on the top of my head too, caught the wind. Like if I went back a little bit, the wind started going up. It felt so much faster because there's no windshield on it, you know? You're just going full throttle into the full 60-mile-an-hour wind, blowing you back, pinning you to the seat. It was a lot faster than I thought it would be because he hadn't really... See, I tried to pull my helmet back down. And he kind of drifts this turn as well. But, like, the traction was pretty solid on it. The torque in the helmet, it didn't fit either. I don't know. I just chose one off this. They just gave me one. I didn't even know how to strap it and secure it. Right here, I think he floored it for a bit as well. No, maybe not. There was one part on the outside here. So then we came back around to the main track, and then this was where... Let's see. This was like coming around the back side of it. Make sure it's in full quality. Yeah, we're good. See, that one, I think he could have jumped the whole thing there, but that was a pretty big error. And then we went over, this was like some of the steeper hills. They kind of slowly went down it too. He was good where he would like do a lot of gas right at the bottom of it and kind of let it coast up the top of the hill. Flying around this thing though, dude. It was really cool. And they gave me, yeah, this was like one of the steep drops here. But they gave me a ticket so I could go with me and a +1. So maybe I'll have to take my wife to do this one day. I don't know if she would even want to do it, honestly. I haven't shown her any of this yet. At this point of it, I was like, oh boy. My stomach started to feel a little nauseous. Because it was just so much up and down, and I just, I've never got like that off of any roller coasters or anything too, but this was like, you know, 5 solid minutes. I feel like a roller coaster doesn't usually last this long in the first place. So we came back over, made it up. It was sick. It was a lot of fun. And then they ended up giving me my files there for it. Let me go find where we were here. This is my... As soon as I took the helmet off, I just recorded my reaction to it. What up, guys? Welcome in. My first Razor cost about $33K, about $7 to $10K in mods. It's worth it, yes, when you're driving them. No, when you see it parked. Oh, I guess this was from before I got into it. Those ones were out of order. This... And then, yeah, this was a shot of the track here. Was the track. I don't think this gives it justice. But they, like, went into the whole backwoods. Like, it was so much bigger than I even realized. Next up. So then we went RCXD car racing, which that's big in Black Ops 6, as you guys know. Big. Thank you for the $2 as well, man. Appreciate it. And then this was the cars, which they said whoever wins gets one. I'm gonna win one of those. So I was confident. All right, listen. I started playing on controller now, boys. I'm a controller man. I can run a controller if I need to. We get one. I'm good. I'm gonna do it. And I drive my little my daughter has a little Mario one that my mom got her for Christmas or something. I don't know. A year or so ago, and I drive this thing all around the house. I mean, I drive it all over. Now, it's a very cheap one. It's not like a crazy one like this. Like, dude, look at this car. This was actually the guy there who was driving it. He said he had motorbike versions of this too, and he rips this thing. He knows how to control this super good. Like, this thing could go up to 50 miles an hour, this car. He only gave it to us in half speed, so we couldn't go full speed on it. But I drive this thing around. The one that I have only does, like, you don't have like a wheel to turn it and everything. This was legit. This had like a full wheel, brake, reverse, like trigger on it. Crazy. I don't know how many of you guys actually have ever done any RC car driving or do this or know about it. So then this was the actual creators doing it. Some of these guys were absolute bots. Yeah, and so we had 3 heats. Everybody had their own heat. because there's a bunch of people in our group and Alpha group. So we all were competing to see who could win their heat, and then all the winners from the heats would go to the finals, right? My buddy has a 2K RC car. Nitro cars are insane, just don't last very long. Yeah, and that was the thing too. They only lasted for about I don't know, like 10 laps or something, and then they had to replace the thing. And my last lap, after our last lap, it started to fade out. How did Tom do? I don't know. He was right after me. He was in, I think, the Delta group, so he went after. I'd have to ask him. I don't know if he's going to be on today, though. I haven't got to the last travel bit from the day. So, yeah, anyways, we ended up racing. It was me and Swifter. If you guys know him, this is him running over. He was one of the marshals. So when we weren't racing, we were the marshal for the track while they were going, so we'd flip the cars back over on it. I popped off. All right, I'll be nice. I'll say Swifter was not as great, but I just, let's keep it slow and steady, go, because it was duos. So he did a lap, I did a lap, and then we ended up winning our heat. Dude, I was flooring it. I did so good on this thing. It was a little hard to control though. Like, I would pull the trigger. RC stuff is so much fun. It is expensive though. It does seem like it, but it seems very fun. If you have enough area to go out and drive them too, or make like a track. But like, I was just tapping the trigger and I just kind of like give it little flicks to try and control it. So anyways, we ended up going on. We won our first heat, destroyed, but we were going up against Iceman Isaac and E-Bates, who are two like controller demons. These guys are nuts. And of course, like, they're insane gamers. So of course they would be good there. I was going to try and team up with Isaac. I think we could have won it together with either of those guys, because everybody else in the group, there was a couple like pretty decent guys, but that was it. So I ended up losing it in the finals. My laps were the fastest laps on the course, but unfortunately we had a couple little flips from Swifter, but that's okay, man. It was still a lot of fun. And then afterwards, I still had the controller because I played in the finals. I just kept doing laps, and I was doing pretty good with this thing though. There was 2 jumps on the track too. You saw it in the first rip of this thing. This was basically me. I was doing so good on this thing by the end of it, but it ran out of battery and it stopped taking all the inputs, and then I kept crashing it. And yeah, it was a lot of fun though. It was cool. And then this thing was so good. It gave me so much heartburn though, but damn, it was good, man. This chicken sandwich was like a buttermilk sandwich, fresh. They had food trucks there. I didn't take pictures of them all, but it was so good, and I was so hungry, and it was 100 degrees with the humidity. It was hot, bro. It was bad. It's title's clickbait. We'll get to it, Flip. Come on, man. Give me a sec. I'm just going over this. All right. Then it was last day. We were heading out back to the airport, and unfortunately for me, well, for all of us really, the flights at night, there was a thunderstorm last night, and so I had to sit on the plane for 6 hours waiting for it to take off, waiting for the thunder to pass. Fortunately for me, though, I was already on the plane, so we were taking off that night. My flight was supposed to be 6 hours, so I was on the plane for 12 hours pretty much yesterday. I was supposed to get back in at like 10 o'clock. I got back at 3 o'clock, and then I woke up, and then I went to sleep, got a couple shots flying over very late. This was like 1:30 a.m., 2 a.m., and then I made it in 2 a.m. back to Portland, went to sleep, and then I got a couple hours of sleep last night, got up this morning, said hello to the fam, got as much prepped for the stream today, got the game downloaded, and now we're live. And that's been my week. There. Was that too long? That wasn't too bad, right? We're back.
Teamwork, make a dream
dude,
work.
when we were in the airport waiting for it to take off, I heard all the thunder, and like we could see it and hear it, and I was like, uh-oh, that doesn't look good. And then it said an hour delay for weather, and then we got onto the plane, and then it was, all those extra hours too. So it was crazy. It was a very, very long trip, but it was a lot of fun, man. Big thank you to, COD for inviting me out. I had a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed some of the content and little overview, little behind the scenes. I've never done that before as well. Just like taking a bunch of shots and overviewed it. I was thinking of doing like a vlog or whatever for it as well. But here we are.